Yeah, right.
Hey, Tim.
Good call.
Tim. Ron.
Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, October 2nd, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Forsyth.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Dole. Here. Crockett. Geske.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
We have a quorum tonight. As always, we have the minutes from our previous meeting. We have the minutes from our September 18th, 2023 board meeting that are included in everyone's packet, and hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review them. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I would accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
I make the motion.
Motion by Phillips.
Second.
Second by Martin. Roll call.
Phillips.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Dole.
Yes.
Geske.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Before we go into public participation, I want to read a press release that we'll be passing out to the news media that's here from the Village of Manteno in regards to them different, some facts around the Goshen. Here are the facts of the Goshen decision to locate new state-of-the-art $2 billion electric vehicle lithium battery manufacturing plant in Manteno, Illinois. The Goshen state-of-the-art lithium battery plant will span approximately 150 acres at what is currently the abandoned Kmart warehouse site and will significantly help bolster the supply chain to meet the growing need of batteries across the EV sector. The $2 billion gigafactory will create 2,600 good-paying jobs, and as Governor Pritzker has stated, is the most significant new manufacturing investment in Illinois in decades. Real estate taxes on the site will increase 105% over the current level, ultimately up to $2 million per year over 30 years. At that point, this project will generate more real estate taxes than any other property in Kankakee County. All 10 taxing bodies approved this agreement in August. EV batteries and the vehicles they power will play a major role in reducing carbon emissions, marking significant strides in our nation to improve the environment and address climate change. This plant will be situated about 10 miles from the Kankakee River and so poses no threat to polluting the waterway. A U.S. subsidiary of Goshen, located in Fremont, California, will operate the new plant. There are a number of major Chinese EV battery manufacturers successfully and safely operating in the U.S. and supplying U.S. automakers. As NBC News noted in the July report, China is by far the global leader in making EV batteries, which it is able to do at lower costs, thanks to the dominance over the supply chain and raw materials such as lithium and cobalt. There is no evidence that Goshen has engaged in espionage or poses any security threat to the United States. It is important to note that 252 Chinese companies are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and the Chicago Stock Exchange. What we should be concerned about is the way that the polarized politics, with its baseless assertions and accusations, is hijacking education, science, and medicine, and now economic innovation and resilience in our nation. Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford Motor Company, said back in May that if localizing China's battery technology in the U.S. gets caught up in politics, the customer is really going to get screwed. With that, I will. The public comment section will open, and just so a reminder, I read this at the last meeting, and I'll read it again. Public comment is a time for you to address the board with comments. This is not a question and answer session. If you have topics that you would like to be addressed individually, you can contact the village administrator during normal business hours to set up an appointment, and he will attempt to address those concerns to the best of his ability. Each commenter will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that if your comments have already been made by a previous commenter, that you don't continually repeat the same comments.
You're mumbling.
With that, The first person on the public participation sign-up sheet is Bill Barnes, 170 East Division.
Thank you. Good evening. I came prepared this time. Being a lifelong resident of Kankakee County and having lived in Bradley, Bourbonnais, and Kankakee, I moved to Manteno 2.5 years ago because I like the fact that the administration put the taxpayers' money and some of the funds gained from the sale of the water system back into the infrastructure and the appearance of the community. As I'm sure with most of the people attending tonight, I'm here to speak out against Governor Pritzker's, Mayor Nugent's, and the Board of Trustees' secret deal with a hazardous materials manufacturer that many other Illinois municipalities and their residents said no to. Just 10 days ago, Ford said their plans to build a mega plant with another Chinese lithium battery manufacturer in Michigan was put on hold. I looked carefully through the agenda of this year's board meetings, and I did not see one mention for open public discussion about Goshen, which is what any honest village would do, so the people who pay the taxes and raise their families here could make their voices heard. None of you gave the residents of Manteno, who will be the ones most negatively impacted by this deal, the courtesy or the right to know about this up front. I would implore all of you to really think about rescinding this decision to allow a highly volatile and toxic manufacturing facility to locate right in the center of this community within just 1,000 and 2,000 feet of hundreds of homes and several thousand residents, because this decision will only lead to Manteno's demise. All one needed to do was do a little research on what took place in Morris, Illinois 2 years ago. At the small battery, not automotive battery, lithium battery plant there, when caught fire and burned for days, leading to hundreds of residents having to evacuate their community. I have spoken to fire, safety, and emergency management professionals from several counties since this announcement was jammed down to people's throats. Not one of them, even one I talked to today who lives in Manteno and is a firefighter up north, had anything positive to say about this news. In fact, they said separately, I wouldn't want that thing in my town. In closing, I would ask you to really look inside yourself and say, or ask, is this what I really want my legacy to be to my friends, neighbors, and residents who came to Manteno for a simpler and safer place to live? Thank you.
The next commenter is Francine Fatima, 1199 Fawn Circle.
That is a lovely sound, the baby. And we're hopeful there'll be many more in this village. But the way it looks, it's a question. I have a quote here, and it's from a very, well, great man, Thomas Jefferson. Timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the tempestuous sea of liberty. That kind of sums up what we're dealing with here. A community that feels no one listens to it. The despots are definitely around. And it's frightening to some of us. I look at the newspapers. I have many articles in the last month in the Daily Journal. Everything is pointing to, oh, it's a done deal. Oh, there's nothing more to do. Well, I disagree with that. There's always something we can do. And I would hope this board would rescind that vote to accept this company. And this company is run by the Communist Party in China. No question about it. There's no freedom in China. And we ourselves need to have that freedom. Why did I move here? My husband and I have lived here 19 years. We left Chicago. We left Oak Lawn. Why did we do that? We just felt things were not going the way that they should go in America. And then we moved here, and it was heaven on earth. Except, as Thomas Jefferson said, it's a tempestuous sea, liberty. You have to fight for it. We can't just let things happen. And so that's why I'm here.
God bless America.
And I agree with that.
The next commenter is Harry Garner, 878 Beauchamp Avenue.
Good afternoon. My name is Harry Garner, and I moved here to Manteno about 4 years ago from LaGrange. LaGrange is a very crowded and congested area. A lot of traffic. I love the small town atmosphere here where people aren't afraid to wave hello or say hello, and they do it regularly. That will all change with your decision to move a CCP lithium battery plant into this community. I am a Marine Corps veteran who held a top secret security clearance at the National Security Agency. I was stationed at Fort George E. Meade, where the NSA is, and I was stationed inside the NSA. Where the United States is at a precipice, not only culturally but militarily. There is no bigger national security threat than China. China is on the hunt in Michigan and now in Illinois and across the USA. There will be an effort by the Chinese Communist Party to infiltrate using business and engineers to spy on our capabilities and discover our weaknesses. The China economy is not doing well, and as they rally around their flag, they prepare for war against the West. Unlike our children, who are schooled in radical gender ideology and woke policies, their children are trained for war and are fully battle ready at a very early age. They are laser focused. It is suspected that China will invade Taiwan around the time of the 2024 presidential election, and President Biden has warned China that we will defend it. China has been acquiring land near strategic U.S. interests, such as military bases and other critical infrastructure. The Braidwood Nuclear Power Generating Station is less than 20 miles from the proposed site of the Goshen Battery Plant and serves Chicago and northern Illinois with electricity. What's to stop them from espionage? What's to stop a cyber attack in case of a war? If we go to war with Taiwan, and it will be with, not with Taiwan, but with China over Taiwan, what will stop them from trying to sabotage our infrastructure? The U.S. has spent billions, nearly 50 billion in security aid to Kiev, draining our munition supplies, many of which are manufactured in China or India. The U.S. has slashed defense to a third of where it was in 1985, and our manufacturing of different things and our skilled labor force is sorely lacking. I think this is a terrible idea to put this plant here. I don't trust the Chinese, both as a veteran, as an American citizen. I think you're making a terrible mistake bringing this plant in. I think Pritzker's wrong, I think you're wrong, and I think you should reconsider the whole damn thing.
The next commenter is Amelia Cahill from the same address of 878 Beauchamp Avenue.
I have lived in Manteno for 26 and a half years. I decided to buy in this area because I felt it was a safe and nice community that I could retire in. I am retired now and commuted to downtown Chicago for 9 years and drove to Oak Brook for 5. I thought Manteno was worth the long commute. I am retired from ComEd and don't think it is a wise decision to put a communist Chinese plant so close to Braidwood Nuclear Station. I really feel that all of you that think it is okay to have a communist Chinese company here did not do your homework. You are willing to jeopardize the health of everyone in Manteno and also surrounding areas. You had the opportunity to have John Deere expand here, but I think you were all bought out by more money from the Chinese. I despise people that can be bought. You deliberately kept these decisions under the radar, so no one in Manteno really knew what you were doing. You are also not thinking about the value of our homes. Maybe people won't want to move here because of Goshen, and all the money we invested will be a giant loss. Also, why am I wearing this mask? Everyone might think COVID is gone, but they are all in denial. I wear this mask when I go out so I don't give the gift from China, COVID, to the people I know and love. When I go shopping now, if the item I was looking at is made in China, I won't buy it. You should be ashamed of the fact that you want to reward China with a piece of the United States. They don't deserve it. I am standing here telling you these things for all the people of Manteno that are afraid to confront you or don't have a clue this is happening. For all we know, anything we say to you won't matter because it is a done deal. What are you going to do with that plant when the all-electric joke doesn't pan out? I guess all those so-called high-paid jobs will be lost. If this company comes to Manteno, I will probably move away from here. I have had cancer once, and I don't want the possibility of getting sick again from a toxic company. I love my home, but I will have to make that hard decision because of your choices. If Pritzker likes Goshen so much, tell him to put it in his backyard.
The next commenter is Eric Cinnamon, 5266 West 9000 North Road.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because thou hast rejected knowledge. Hosea 4:6. I'd like to read a series of headlines. I will give the newspaper source, the news source, as I go along. I won't go into depth on. Suspected Chinese spies disguised as tourists tried to infiltrate Alaskan military bases. USA Today. The Chinese-Mexico fentanyl pipeline increasingly sophisticated and deadly. The Guardian. Chinese gate crashers at U.S. bases raise espionage concerns. Reuters. Disturbing California biolab shrouded in mystery as Chinese links emerge. Fox News. This week, Chinese hackers are hiding in routers in the U.S. and Japan. Wired magazine. Right now, the Chinese are doing what's called fifth generation warfare, if you're not aware. It's conducted through non-kinetic military actions such as social engineering, misinformation, cyber attacks, economics, along with emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and automated systems. J.B. Pritzker called the folks behind me and in the other room the xenophobes. I call them aware. They know what's going on. There's an ancient Chinese proverb, some say a curse, it says, may you live in interesting times. May you live in interesting times. Thank you.
The next commenter is Paul Motel, 647 Peacock Place.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just scooch this close. A little hard to hear. First off, I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to come here and express my concerns. If you'll notice, I didn't write anything out because I'm speaking from here. Okay? Also, I'd like to express that I saw one of the members of this board laughing at an individual speaking who they're supposed to represent. That is unacceptable. You do not laugh in our face. I just hope you understand that. Let me digress from the CCP, okay? Let's talk about health. I live 1 mile north in Eagles Landing from this plant. All right? Most of you are familiar, the winds blow out of the west and head straight east. What happens to plumes of poisonous gas blown towards the elementary school and South Creek most of the time? If we look at Morris, it was just a storage facility, just storage, not manufacturing, just storage. How did they extinguish that blaze, Mr. Nugent?
They didn't.
They have to suffocate it with concrete.
Yeah.
Are any of our first responders equipped?
Nope. No.
That $2 million in revenue can't even afford one new standard fire engine in this day and age. A phone truck will not extinguish this. This is called thermal runaway. There are videos of backhoes and cranes dropping blazing Teslas into ponds, and this thing is still blazing under the water. They had to be suffocated with concrete. In the event it gets completely out of control, where are the residents of South Creek and Eagles Landing gonna go? That's if we're even given notice. How many companies regulated by OSHA and any other occupational standard try to sweep accidents under the rug? What would happen to the groundwater supply during a spill? Because let me tell you, I'm familiar with the industrial spill protocol, and these socks that are supposedly sucking up oil and other contaminants are not. It's a joke. Once it hits the soil, it's there. Think of my son. He's 6 years old.
That's
Gina
your time.
Halper's son is 6 years old. Her older son is 11. If you allow this, Mr. Nugent, I will be your age helping them clean this mess. Thank you for letting me speak.
The next commenter is Julie Helda, 20 Maple Ridge Park.
Yeah. I just want to bring the presence of God into this room because that's who I go to when I want to fight evil. So I would ask everybody to say the Lord's Prayer with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil. Amen. Amen. Thank you. That's Lutheran Catholic.
The next commenter is Diana Baker, 2921 Chippewa Drive in Bourbonnais.
Hello, I'm a native of Manteno, I'm a county resident, and I am an American patriot. By allowing a communist Chinese battery plant onto our soil, you, the village board of Manteno, are failing more than just the people of Manteno. You're failing our country. And it's sad to say that the majority of the Illinois state and federal governments currently in power are also failing the American people. It's increasingly obvious that the majority of current politicians now make their decisions based upon money rather than the benefit of the people. And many are only in office to enjoy the financial gains they can reap for themselves and their cronies, regardless of how it hurts the American people.
Exactly.
Serving in a government position is not supposed to be about gaining insurance benefits, income and retirement benefits by filling a seat and by casting a vote on occasional topics. It is about possessing morals, ethics, and faith in God, and especially doing your due diligence. You know, that pesky part about educating yourself before you make important decisions. You are expected to do what is right for the well-being of the people, not yourself, and to hold the line, especially in the face of adversity. Our Constitution states that those who fail to protect the sovereignty of the United States of America are deemed treasonous. For those who don't understand what sovereignty is, it's the concept of having independence within your borders while possessing the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without someone ruling over you. I am disgusted that the Biden administration has not been held accountable for their treasonous acts of allowing an open border threatening our sovereignty. I'll repeat that. I am disgusted that the Biden administration has not been held accountable for their treasonous acts of allowing an open border threatening our sovereignty. And I question the corruption of all three branches of federal government who are supposed to be providing the checks and balances that prevent such a thing from happening in the first place. And now, here we are in Manteno, allowing for another threat to our sovereignty by even more treasonous government officials. You are placing our energy dependency on a foreign enemy and bringing them onto our soil to do it. You are also exposing every one of us to the contamination of our soil and water, and you're threatening the overall health of the entire community. And all for money? Really?
Judas.
The elected officials have power only if we give it to them and continue complying. It is time for the people to rise up and say no more. There are millions of Americans in this country who are allowing a few thousand to control us and ruin the safety and freedom so many of our ancestors have sacrificed their lives for. Every American should be thanking God every day that our forefathers didn't take the same attitude that many people are taking today. Oh, there's nothing we can do. It's a done deal.
No, it's not.
If our forefathers would have done this when the British gave their orders to the colonists, we wouldn't be here today with our freedom. Are your grandkids going to be able to live in a free country, or are you just going to continue sitting back and let your American freedom, health, and safety be destroyed? Our government representatives vote for us, the American taxpayers. I ask you, the village board members, to atone for your mistakes and reverse your votes. Stand with us in protest.
Your time is up.
Communist China and their dangerous chemicals out of our town and country.
The next speaker or commenter is John Grishas, 8481 North 4000 Road, Manteno. You coming? Okay.
He's coming, he's coming.
Good evening. Though I don't live in the town of Manteno, I'm part of the township of Manteno. I'm a farmer that lives and works farmland adjacent to what was formerly both of the Sears warehouses. What I want to address tonight is a real estate issue. You mentioned that all 10 taxing bodies agreed.
Hey, quiet!
There's one taxing body you forgot, and that's the one who pays the bill. So there should be 11th representative as a citizen of the township for the taxes. When you look back 30 years, 20 years of the development, basically on the east side of Manteno, there were Sears warehouses and subsequent companies in Diversitech. They have not really added to the support of the real estate taxes of Manteno. We know the school, for me, the school district taxes, the fire department taxes, they will all be short under this agreement with Goshen. If you look at our past assessments this past year, the state arbitrarily said there was a catch-up of 10%. So they increased our taxes 10% without consulting us. You guys the taxing bodies don't consult the payers, and they need to. Goshen shouldn't get a free ride on my back where I have to pay for increased fire department coverage. Goshen is not going to pay it for the next 30 years. We, the village people, are paying. So please put in your scenario to add another taxing body, the ones who paid the bill, for their scenario. Taxes are not meant to be a income part of the village. Thank you.
The next commenter is Frank Presto, 386 Jefferson Street.
Good evening. I know I'd like to address you all. I want to individually here is your conscience. We've all been given a God-given conscience. And what I see is you all here tonight, we have a company what's coming into this town, which is basically hazardous, communist run, and all that. And what I think what's happening here is you all are getting your pockets lined with finances. Yeah. Let me give you some more. I'm going to set out of the conversation. I'm going to give you what God's Word says in a lot of this, what's going on. First of all, in 1 Timothy 6, 9 through 10, those who desire to be rich fall into many temptations, into a snare, into senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. The love of money is the root of all evil. Secondly, you are considered our elected officials. In Exodus 18:21, it says, look for able men from all the people, men, one, who fear God, who are trustworthy. I don't see trustworthiness in this room right here. And hate a bribe. And place such men over the people. We want people who are trustworthy. Next, Proverbs 22:1 says, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. What's going to be in the center of your life? What you're doing here tonight, or what you're trying to do with this company, what's your legacy going to be when it crumbles, when people die senselessly or run a town into the ground? Another thing is, when the righteous increase, the people rejoice. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. I see a lot of groaning people here tonight, which is, you don't want to be associated with as wicked people, do you? A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. Two more last things and I'm done. Proverbs 10:2 says, treasures gained by wickedness do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. And I'd like to say, Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and instruction. And I hope you all aren't fools. But what I see, what's going on, you better fear God, put God first. This nation was built on godly principles. Don't let your conscience be seared, which means it's being pressed down for unrighteousness. You don't want that.
Thank you, sir. The next commenter is Bob Forsyth, 396 West 8th Street.
30 pieces of silver.
Each trustee and the mayor, and everybody can look at this. There's 2 pages, maybe one on each side. You guys are all getting letters. Went from Marco Rubio to Secretary Yellen. He'll tell you exactly about all the stuff with China. Obviously, nobody here ever read the bylaws of Goshen. There's 97 pages of it.
You know what, Bud? You don't care? You don't care how people
They're all out there.
We don't care.
But the idea that you can sit here and do a little speech when the news reporters are here, but you won't answer one question for us. I did call this week to get on the agenda, and I was told we don't put individuals on. Why? I'm not sure, because maybe you have to answer a question. But every trustee right here, sitting down here, does any one of you know what's going on? Or did you, again, just sign this? I mean, you guys can't look at anybody. We're all your neighbors.
They all need to be gone.
Actually, Tim, I think you should resign tonight. I think you should walk. It's time for you to go. You're walking long gone. I have a quote today, too. And this happens to be your quote out of the Kankakee Journal in August. It says, if it's not good for the community, we're better off to leave it as is. Everybody here, and you tell me that these group of people don't love this community and this nation. And you sit up here and you don't want to say a word to any one of us. Every trustee won't say a word. We can't ask a question, we can leave comments. We get to listen to your comments, but they're never the questions we want to hear. And the answer. What about answering our real questions? Just don't sit there. I mean, I know it's for comments, but, and you guys can all read, so you might want to read that. But why can't you answer questions? Why does it have to go through Chris? We can go to Chris's office, we can sit there, and he's going to tell me exactly what you're telling him to tell me. Because nobody on this board's got any balls to speak up against you. This whole thing is a game. Damn right. There's no balls sitting at this table to speak up. I just can't believe, maybe all of you ought to just get up and get your asses out of here.
Really?
All I know is you should be ashamed of yourself. Because when I was reading, you knew it, you kept your mouths quiet, and you just snuffed this through. And I also talked to a state rep that told me this was a quiet deal set up through J.B. Pritzer on his own, and you will suffer to take it on in. So you should be ashamed of yourself. Look in the mirror and go, boy, I was really sucked in. Because you were.
No comment.
The next commenter is Rhonda Kinchner, 7518 North 1500 West Road,
They
Manteno.
can be humble and say they were wrong. They can't be humble and say
Thank
they
you.
were wrong.
Born and raised in Manteno, and I know how decisions are made in this town. I'm not new here. I recently started my 33rd year of teaching, and despite what you may believe, there are teachers out there who are encouraging our youth to make good decisions based on facts and common sense. And I'm one of those teachers. In light of what's been going on in the past few years with politics in general, I've never been political, but I've started collecting old history books because I feel like it's really important, more so now than ever, to understand how our government is supposed to work, to learn those definitions that have been changed over the past few years and see the manipulation that we're all having to endure in our current day. In reading one of those history books, I was struck by the words of Theodore Roosevelt in his address to the Constitutional Congress of Ohio in 1912. And this book was from 1917, by the way, so even then, it was really important. Unless representative government does absolutely represent the people, it is not representative government at all. And I'm not sure what you think your job is, but recent decisions regarding this lithium plant do not represent the people of our community. In fact, this board has done more to represent the governor of our state and a foreign-owned battery manufacturing plant than it has the people who live here. As servants of the people, you have failed miserably at your jobs. Here's another quote by Teddy Roosevelt. It is a false constitutionalism to give the people full power and at the same time trick them out of it. Now, I don't remember a time in recent years that we've been given full power for anything. Decisions are made for us. But I do feel like we've been tricked. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened here. I've looked through recent agendas, I've looked through minutes, and I have yet, maybe they're there, I've yet to see any mention of Goshen, the Kmart building, lithium batteries, or China. So if this business arrangement wasn't discussed publicly, where was it discussed? When was it decided? Shouldn't we have a say in with whom we're sharing our resources? Roosevelt referred to people like you in his address. He warned that by tricking the people, the officers created by the people and the rightfully servants of the people can set themselves up to become the masters of the people. And I feel like that's what's happening here. What other secret secrets have been kept from us. The fact that we're going to be providing housing for all those foreigners who come to work here, I'm sure somebody in Manteno is going to be making a lot of money doing that. Or an agreement that foreigners will be able to mine our resources while Americans cannot. I don't know, we can only imagine because you're not answering questions or telling us any of the facts regarding this decision. And I'm going to close by addressing the mayor personally. First, your role as the president of the Economic Alliance is a conflict of interest with the office of mayor. You sold our town for business purposes. They have nothing to do with what's good for us. And you made it clear what kind of man you want to be. Roosevelt warned the people at the Ohio Constitutional Convention that you cannot get good service from the public servant if you cannot see him. You, sir, avoid us. You claim to represent us and you avoid us. Maybe you don't want to be confronted. Maybe you don't want to answer questions. And if that's the case, maybe you are not the right mayor for our town.
Thank you. The next commenter is Anna Kaminski, 2364 East Watson.
Hello, everybody. I have nothing prepared. I moved to Manteno over 30 years ago. I left the city of Chicago for a small town that I could get to know my neighbors. I could go to the grocery store and know the cashier, and go to the library and take out a book from the librarian, and the gas station, and the bar for a beer. This is not a good thing for Manteno. The zoning has to go from light industrial to heavy industrial, and I believe that has to be voted on. If these are the members that have to vote on that, I ask that you please reconsider and put this on a referendum for the people of Manteno to decide what is best for them.
The next commenter is Ann Gates, 1640 Carriage Lane, Bourbonnais.
Good evening. I may not reside in Manteno, but I'm not far away. My perspective tonight is a little bit different than what you've heard already. I am a first responder family. We have active duty fire, we have active duty military, we have active duty police officers. So I look at things a little bit different when it came to this plant. And I was astounded when I went back through every town meeting, every board meeting, and there was no mention of what you were planning. I've been tracking Governor Presto for years, so his part in this did not surprise me at all. I'm just surprised at all of you, and it's a shame. But I'd like to leave you with some facts. According to IFCA, Chief Michael O'Brien of the Fire Service is facing unknown challenges in light of the increase in lithium-ion batteries. He spoke of the need for integrated safety systems to be in place for community risk reduction and to ensure the safety of the first responders as they respond to fire and accidents that are battery involved. Since lithium batteries cannot be extinguished by water or chemical foam, or by something put under the car and punctured to inject foam, or a fire blanket put over the vehicle, which only puts the fire up and does not cool the thermal mess going on underneath. I'd really like to know how you're going to give the skill set that all of the first responders are going to need to be trained in. This is the head of the Fire Chiefs International. You can look it up on YouTube and listen to what he has to say. He's totally bipartisan. He's not speaking from a point of politics or money. He's speaking in regards to the safety of the people that he took a pledge to protect and the communities that he took a pledge to serve. And he's trying to enable the fire service across our nation and globally to know how to deal with this threat that is coming, because technology is way beyond what the testing and what the protocol for safety is being required. It's not there. He goes on to say, what is known is that they must have their PPE, personal protection equipment, as well as their SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, prior to approaching the fire due to toxic vapor and smoke that is uniquely from lithium-ion batteries, carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, hydrophosphoric acid, and cobalt poisoning can all be released during the thermal runaway of a lithium-ion battery fire. The required technology presents different risks and needs different kind of mitigation.
Ma'am, could you wrap it up, please? The time is up.
See what they do? They don't let you talk.
You know what?
She didn't use all of her 3 minutes. Let her
I'm not surprised. I've been here the whole time and I've watched other people stand here and talk a lot longer than I have.
Well, I'm just going by
But
that.
that's
What
fine.
it
I made copies. I'm gonna give them to you.
I ain't gonna read them.
If you don't read them, that's on you. But I spent weeks and months doing this research because I care about our first responders. I care about my son who's a firefighter. I care about my nephew who's a police officer. I care about and you don't have the due diligence to take time to listen to actual fact and know what's going on and what that is going to present to our community. You don't have the time. I'm sorry for you. I really am.
Really?
And I will pray for you that God speaks to your heart and gives you a conscience. And you can go ahead and smirk behind your hand.
Yeah.
That's such an embarrassing. You should be better than that.
So be
You
humble,
should be
say you
better.
were wrong. Be humble.
The next commenter is Kirk Allen, no address listed.
Thank you, sir. My name is Kirk Allen. I'm co-founder of the Edgar County Watchdogs. I want to address a couple of transparency concerns. Your agenda on the door is much different than the agenda being handed out here.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Your agenda online for tomorrow's zoning meeting, under number 4, it says action items, and there's nothing there. That tells the public you're not taking any action. Is that true? If that's true, then great. But if it's not, this agenda is much more detailed than what you have posted on the door.
We'll be there at 7 o'clock.
That's problematic from a transparency standpoint. The other thing, and I appreciate that you allowed me to speak, because I didn't put my address on there. The Attorney General has opined on that, and I know you didn't make it a requirement because I am speaking, but putting people's address on a sign-in sheet creates a list. What's that list used for? Who can use that list? You're publicly reading into the record these people's home addresses. Think about that for a minute. When you submit a FOIA request to a public body, their address is private information. It's to be redacted. It's not subject to FOIA. Why are you asking them to put it on a sign-in sheet? That needs to be changed.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to address, this comes from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of public meetings where we go and speak for people that are literally intimidated by some folks, so they don't speak. When you don't, and I know Open Meetings Act doesn't require you to answer, I understand that. That's a failure of the legislature, in my opinion. There are some laws like county code in universities and schools that are required to answer questions, and we can get you that citation. That needs to be in the municipal code as well. But my point is, when you don't answer, what happens is you force their assumption to be what they want it to be. They may be right, but they may be wrong. But when you don't engage or set up a time for that engagement, you create more division, more tension, more unknown. And that is never good for a community. And I have seen it tear communities apart over and over and over. These are your neighbors. These are people that you have known for years. Do not divide this community because you don't want to answer a question. Set up a time for these people to get questions answered. We went through this with the College of DuPage, and they actually set up a program where people could submit questions, and although they weren't being answered on the spot, which I don't think that's necessary in most cases because there's research that needs done, But they got answers for those people and posted the answers online so that everybody could see them. That's transparency. I beg of you to focus on the transparency because it appears there's not a whole lot of it. Thank you.
The next commenter is Deborah Kerber, 663 Lindsay Street.
Good evening. I know that you all feel you don't have to answer to us, but you, and 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 you will have to answer to somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. The next commenter is Dolly Carson, 1257 Whitetail Drive.
She just said it said South Creek. Okay, so, you know, I just want to stress that the people of Manteno, we see and we hear everything that goes on. We know who benefits the most from things in this community. You may not see us come into these meetings, but I think that's a testament to how much we trusted you. We may grumble that we have too many banks, too many gas stations, not enough restaurant choices, and we grumble about the mayor picking and choosing the companies that he wants in these towns so we can retain that small feel, which we all love.
Yes.
But we're drowning in our increased property taxes from year to year. That's another story. Never once, though, at least in my opinion, do I think that you've given us reason to distrust you. Never once have we feared that you would put our health and lives in danger until now. It saddens me to think that for all the good you've done for this community, this is going to be your legacy. This is what you want. This is your big bank. So, well, you know, when we have an explosion at the plant, or we have negative health pandemics because of it, well, Mr. Mayor, your name is going to be on everybody's lips, and their blood is going to be on your hands.
Yes.
What a legacy to leave. Allowing this plant to potentially play Russian roulette with the lives of current and future residents of Manteno. Bravo.
Kids.
I don't know how you guys have all seemed to have lost your way on this, but please be reassured that we, the people, are coming in to help.
We will fight.
We, the people, are working to rectify this perilous situation. And unlike you, we will be transparent, as we already are, and forthcoming in our actions. We're not cowards, we won't hide, and we will stand up for what is right. We, the people, would love it if you would stand and fight with us. You look at us as if we're the enemy. We are not the enemy. Every American should be against this. But it shouldn't be us against you and them. But if we can't count on your support to protect this community, this county, this state, this nation that we love, don't worry. We, the people, we've got you. Because we want every single person in our nation, our community, our county, and our state to be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Dawn Marie Tierney, 7740 East 9000 North Road. Okay.
Says you all should resign.
Good evening. My name is Marina Fisher from Whitaker, Grant Park, Illinois. I'm here tonight to strongly oppose the CCP Chinese plant, Goshen plant, from coming to Manteno. I think you've made a bad deal for us. I hope you can rectify it, reverse course, and I want to thank all the folks here tonight standing with us against Goshen and ask that you join us. Mr. Mayor, the board, shame on you. No Goshen. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next commenter is Marina Fisher, no address listed.
Hello, community. Mayor, I didn't see you at the parade this year.
I moved here to Manteno 8 years ago. This is my son. He's grown up here. And now, unfortunately, I won't be able to give my son, he's 1 year old, the same opportunities. Football, show choir, soccer, all the opportunities I'm sure that your children have also collected in. You're ruining his opportunities and opportunities to our future children as you're jeopardizing everyone's health and well-being, allowing them to destroy our resources with your money-blind decisions. Yes. My question for you, board, is what will be your after statement when we have a Manteno documentary for after effects because of this decision of yours?
That concludes the public participation portion of the meeting, and we'll be moving on with the rest of our board meeting.
And I'm going to turn my back on the mayor, and then I'm going to leave.
The village president's report, the only item I have on the agenda tonight is the resolution 2304, which is a resolution approving a professional service agreement with HR Green in connection with providing professional engineering services from time to time for the village of Manteno. As you know, Bruce, the gentleman that we've hired from the engineering firm before, has moved to a different company. This is solidifying those agreements with that company on an hourly basis for work that's performed by HR Green. And it'll be on the consent agenda later on in the meeting. Anyone have any questions in regards to the, I think we discussed this at the board meeting, or at the committee meetings. Village Administrator's report, Mr. Larock.
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, one other thing. The tax rebate, property tax rebate forms are available, and I don't know if you were going to comment on that, but they're available. They need to be filled out by October 31st.
Correct.
People, single-family home residents, to be able to apply for their tax rebate. Obviously, if you remember, this is the second year we've done this where Manteno rebates to the homeowners all the taxes that go to the village of Manteno. So while we are trying to combat the high property taxes, it's not the problem of the village, because anybody is receiving those 100% of that taxes back in their tax rebate, but they have to fill out the form. I'm sorry, Village President's or Village Administrator's report, Mr. Larock.
Nothing this evening, Mayor. I have nothing this evening,
Okay.
Mayor.
Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no items tonight on the agenda.
Okay. Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any items. The October 11th, 7 a.m. is in the village board meeting is for public safety. Right here. My tip is for farmers. Fall is one of the busiest times of the year.
Can we do something about the feedback, Brian?
Yeah.
Back?
No. You're good.
Just leave it?
Yep.
The farmers are working around the clock to harvest and transport the crops they worked hard to grow. During this time, farmers may use many different pieces of large equipment. Using this harvest equipment comes with its own set of risks. Accidents, whether in the field or in the road, are prone to happen. Producers must be aware and follow all safety guidelines for their equipment. Also, everyone should be mindful of all harvest equipment and exercise caution when encountering them on the road. During harvest seasons, large equipment is on the roads much more frequently. Cars that do not yield to these pieces of equipment put everyone's life in danger. These pieces of equipment are often many times wider than the lanes that they are traveling on. Please remember that a lot of harvest equipment, including trucks hauling crops, cannot stop on a dime. It is also difficult for farmers to move this equipment over, especially on a bridge or overpass. Drivers should respect this large equipment. To keep everyone safe, both farmers and drivers should follow basic safety guidelines this harvest season. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Stoll. Planning and Zoning, Mr. Crockett is not here tonight. He has a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And the Plan Commission meeting that's normally scheduled for October 10th has been canceled. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. The only item I have is payment of bills in the amount of $764,330.90, of which none were TIF bills. Our bills authorized and paid between the board cycle were $44,527.08. Our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for October 11th at 7 a.m. right here in the boardroom. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips.
I have nothing on the agenda, Mayor.
All right. The items that we'll be voting on tonight then in the consent agenda are as follows. Under new business, we have Resolution 2304, which is a resolution approving a professional service agreement with H.R. Green in connection with providing professional engineering services from time to time to the Village of Manteno. And then also the payment of the bills in the amount of $764,330.90, of which none are TIF bills. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to take a single roll call vote on the question of passage of the agenda items as read.
I'll make that.
Motion by Boyce, second by Martin. Roll call.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. I accept a motion to approve by unanimous vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read.
I made that motion.
Motion by Dole, second by Geske. Roll call.
Dole?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Comments tonight before we adjourn, Mr. Boyce.
I appreciate everyone coming out to Oktoberfest. It was a good crowd, good weather, so thank you everybody who came out, helped support the town. That's all I got.
Jake, do you have any comment on Oktoberfest? I mean, you had a great weekend there.
Yeah, no comment other than it was a great turnout all 4 nights. It was great to see the community all there, and all in all, it was a great year.
Yeah, I heard Saturday night was the most crowd that we've ever had on Main Street. That how many thousands of people were here, but a great crowd. The weather obviously helped. So kudos on your first Oktoberfest.
Thank you,
Mr. Martin.
Same thing. I got to take my granddaughter to her first Oktoberfest. So there you go. It was good. And Jake, thanks for the nice weather. That was really big of you. Other than that, it was a good time.
Mrs. Dole?
Both the Chief Al, you said there were no problems, no issues, so that's great. It's always good to hear. So thank you for keep doing well.
What, we had
Good
10,
job.
12,000 people in town and you got 0 calls? Yeah, that's impressive. The new format where you widen the streets, where we widen the things out and having people roaming, it's not all combined into the beer tent, makes a big difference.
That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Crockett, not here. Mr. Geske.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate in Oktoberfest, but for everything I heard from my kids, that it was a great time and ran well. So thank you again for taking care of that.
Mr. Phillips?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Jacob.
One other item, October 14th, I believe it is, a week from Saturday, we are having open house at the newly constructed Manteno Public Works building up on North Maple Street. 2 weeks ago, we had the open house for the new police department. So now we'll be having the open house and invite the public. Jake, I know you've got that invitation out. It's on Facebook and website and everything for let people know Saturday from 9 to 12, open house that people can come and walk through the new facilities. I know Jim Hanley has started moving equipment and moving things over there that it'll take them a while to be where they're fully functional and operational there, but the building's been a year and a half in the building stage and finally getting ready to be totally put into use. So congratulations for that, and hopefully everybody come out. I know the police department one, you had 250, 300 people show up for that. So that's good. I have nothing further except a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Martin, second by Dole. Roll call.
Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming, for watching.